So tonight we begin a process, a 2-month process. It's going to be 9 weeks of focusing on the abundance of God. And what's so cool about this is we're not asking God to be different in one little way. Not even one. We're not asking the universe to pour out more blessings for us. We're not. We're not going to beg or beseech God to be a better God. But we are going to make some changes. And guess where the changes are? Right in us. In our ability to receive. To receive the infinite, outpouring nature of God and to be okay with that. Because for each one of us, we have our limit to how blessed we've been willing to receive. How much good we can accept before we say no mas, no more. Right? And what I want us to see tonight is that wherever your stop point has been, I'm going to invite you to wiggle your soul open a little bit more. Because every time we open our soul more to receive, we glorify God in a greater way. That every time we are willing to receive more and more of the presence, the beauty, the abundance, the good that God is, everybody wins. So over this next 2 months, I'm going to invite you to think of one prosperity goal that you would be willing to experience in the next 2 months. Right? And it can be as fun and as creative and as outrageous as you're willing to be. Right? How many of us need a little help sometimes to get a little outrageous? Right? How many times do we kind of get just like, well, if it just got, 2%, 5%, 6% better, we think, woo, right? Right? I want us to see really what it would feel like and live like for you to feel like you've had a profound blessing. I know that I'm a very, very blessed man. I know that my life has so much good in it, more good than I can even imagine. And I can also feel that my soul is ready to open to the next level of God's good. And maybe you're having that experience too. Maybe there's places in your life where you realize that you've drawn the circle a little too small. And even though you may not know how to expand the circle or what it would look like or how it would happen, your soul is ready to say, I'm ready to be more blessed. I am ready for more and more of the goodness of God to fill my life. And I'm willing to be changed to experience that. Because the kicker in this one, right, is we all are willing to be blessed. We just don't always want to be changed too much. It's like I want a bigger blessing, but I don't really ever want to have to open places in my soul in a bigger way so that the blessing will fit. And in my experience, it doesn't really work like that. If you want to be more blessed, you have to be willing to have more and more of your soul transformed, open up, softened up. Let old ideas go. Let old forgiveness be forgiven. Let old hatred be let it go. So that our soul is actually ready to be open for more and more good. That the person that we are today is being blessed at the level that we're able to receive it. But to receive more means that we have to be willing to be transformed more. So, just saying, right? I'm just saying that I want the blessing to be so wonderful that you're actually willing to be transformed to get it. Because what happens is, for a little blessing, my life's okay. I'm not really willing to change too much for a little blessing, But a big blessing, I'll actually be uncomfortable for. I'll actually let God get in there and start moving some things around. And I might gnash my teeth a few times. I might complain. I might even just get a little antsy for a big enough blessing. Because I know that the temporary discomfort of the internal transformation is worth the level of good that my God wants to bless me with. I am ready for an overflowing blessing. Will you say that with me? I am ready for an overflowing blessing. Say it like you mean it. Come on. I am ready for an overflowing blessing. Now, one more time, like we actually are feeling it. I am ready for overflowing blessing. So the question now becomes, what part of you, what aspect of you, what thought, what belief do you see as getting in the way of you being blessed? And would you be willing to give that to God? To have a life that is greater than you've known before. I can't tell you how many times I've stood in this room and claimed a miracle. And the miracle was never to get God to do something that was different than God's nature. The miracle was always in me, in the transformation of me, in the newness of me. And so every time we're willing to claim a greater level of good, the transformation happens in us. And God is more glorified because our life outpictures more and more how great God is. All right? So I want you to come up with one prosperity project that you're willing to hold on to. You're willing to write it down. I want you to visualize it. I want you to see it. And I want you to think about it for the next 2 months that this is going to be your prosperity project. Now, am I going to ask you in the process that you have to figure out how it's going to happen? Not even a little bit. And in fact, if you know how to do it, it's not a big enough project. Right? If you're going to be able to do it from your ego or your personality, you don't really need God. That's not a big enough project, right? I want a project so big that it kind of scares you. That you don't know how to do it. That it would be something so great, it would really spark you. Right? And the next question is always, well, Richard, what if it doesn't happen? Well, that's why we're playing the game. Like if you knew you were going to win before you played the game, why play the game? You actually play the game to stretch your faith, to see if you can have faith big enough to live a life that's that great and to really put life to the test. Put yourself to the test to see if as you are willing to be transformed at deeper and deeper levels, how much good you can live. Because the promise, the story, is that the overflowing goodness of God is greater than we can imagine. So I invite you to write down your prosperity project, and I want you to begin to visualize. I want you to begin to see it on a regular basis, daily, hourly if you can. And then the prayer is, transform anything in me. Transform any thought, any belief, any attitude, any unforgiveness, transform any limitation so that I can receive this much good. Because I am ready for this much good. We give lip service to the idea that God is infinite, but the infinite has to manifest in the finite. We read in the book of John, and we were told that Jesus was the Word that was made You remember? Flesh. You remember that? So that the infinite was brought into the finite. The infinite was made manifest in the physical, and that's the living demonstration, is that there's infinite possibilities for your life. There's infinite levels of good that could manifest in your life. There's an infinite opportunity in your life. But what's interesting is what can you live? Don't tell me all things are possible. That's true, they are. But what's interesting is out of the infinite possibilities, what can you bring down into form and manifest in your life? Because it's what you can anchor in the world that matters. You can say, well, I could have done more. No. Right? In that moment, that was the best you can do. There's nothing wrong with that, but that was the best you could do. And then in the next moment, we have an opportunity then to try to expand more and bring it into form and manifest it into our lives, because we are the Word being made flesh. We are the infinite manifesting the glory of God here and now. And there's times when our soul realizes, I'm ready to manifest more. I'm ready to manifest more than I've ever done before. I now understand that the limitations that I've held, or the ideas that I've held, or the unforgiveness that I've held, or the resentments that I've held, are not worth the glory of God that I could bring into this moment. And my soul is ready to manifest more. Would you like to say that? My soul is ready to manifest more. Let's say it like it's true. Together. My soul is ready to manifest more. Right? And what's so much fun about this is it's always a process. It's always a process. Because the more you manifest, you can never manifest all of God. You can just manifest as much God as you can do in that moment. And in the next moment, there's this opportunity to manifest more. But there's never a point where you said, done. I just manifested everything God is. Thank you very much. Check, please. I'm out of here, right? Because there's no point, there's no stop point. So when you look back at the course of your life, I hope that you see that you're manifesting more and more of the glory of God in each new day. And as a soul, that there's always more God to lay hold of and to bring into form into your life, and to experience the overflowing blessings that God has for you. Because the more good you lay hold of and bring into form, the more inspiring you become to everyone around you. Well, that's not completely true. You probably have a couple cranky people in your life, and that every time you lay hold of more good, they actually become more cranky. True? Anybody have anybody in their life that? For those you can inspire, you can always tick off. So either way, it's a win, right? We're either inspiring or we're ticking off, and they get to decide which one it really is for them. That's not really our job. Our job is just, again, to lay hold of the infinite and bring it into form. And so for the next several weeks, we're going to focus on how to do that. Are you willing? Great. I'm going to give you 10 ideas. I know, a short little thing. I got 10, just 10 little ideas that I'm going to give you tonight, just because I want to make sure we start off with overwhelming you from the beginning. All right? Okay, now idea number 1. Whatever I believe will come to pass. Right? Whatever I believe will come to pass. So the first idea talks about our relationship with the universe. That whatever I believe will come to pass. So as I change my beliefs, I change my reality. As I change my beliefs, I actually change my relationship with the universe. I change my relationship with reality. I change my relationship as I change my thoughts, right? If I believe that it's not possible, am I right? Yes. If I believe that it is possible, am I right? Yes. Because as I believe, it is done unto me. Jesus said over and over again, as you believe, it is done unto you. Over and over again, he asked people, do you believe that I can do this, right? So over and over again, we have to come back to the basic, fundamental idea that as I believe, it is done unto me. So if I look at my life right now, I'm seeing an outpicturing of my belief system. I'm seeing my belief system outpicturing